38 Special versus 380 ACP, and what we have today is a fair test by Buffalo Bore. And what I mean by that is both these are plus P. I get a lot of flack sometimes when I use a 38 Special plus P, but I don't use the 380 ACP in a plus P, even though under SAMI spec there is no such thing as 380 ACP plus P, but a lot of people still want to see that. And I've tested this round before, but never through the 3-inch barrel, so I am kind of interested to see what we might get out of a 3-inch barrel. So it is a 125 grain. They claim it's an LV jacketed hollow point, low velocity, rated at 1,050 feet per second, but to me it just looks like an XTP. Now with the 380 ACP plus P, it's a 90 grain. Looks a lot like a SIG V crown bullet to me. This is rated at 1,200 feet per second, so that's a pretty fast rating. So I'm going to use my Taurus 856 with the 3-inch barrel to test our 38 Special plus P, just to get, you know, an average size gun, I should say. Compare that to my M&P EZ. Very similar amount of bullet travel in the guns, very similar amount of overall size of those firearms. So I think if you're going to replace one with the other, they'd fit in about the same size. So that's why I test those like that. So we're going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy we get at the same time. Then I'm going to do my 10% clear ballistic test. I'm going to do a best potential versus more of a real world test. So I'm going to go into plain clear ballistics, nothing else, to see what the best potential is of those bullets. Then after that, I'm going to put on 4 layers of cotton. This is actually a polo shirt on the front of this first 3 inches that represents our pectoral muscle. Followed by that, we're gonna have 3 inches of clear ballistics, and then a 1/4 inch medium density fiber board to represent hitting ribs or sternum. That'll be more of our real world simulation. And then after that, I'm gonna shoot at the steel and see what kind of practical accuracy I can get. So let's get started with this test. All right, I'm about 5 yards from the target, 4 yards from the chronograph. First up, we're gonna run our 380 ACP rated at 1,200 feet per second. I don't know what barrel length they used, but this is my 3.68 inch Smith & Wesson Shield EZ. So let's see what we get here. $11.59, $11.34, $11.23, $10.89, $11.68. So a little bit less consistent than what I'm used to with Buffalo Bore, and below rated velocity, but that's still pretty good velocity. So 38 Special plus P rated at 1,050 feet per second. Let's see what we get. $12.13, wow. $12.27, $12.22, $12.08, $12.05. So very high velocity, above rated velocity. That's very powerful. That's like getting into 357 mag territory just about. But my point of impact is definitely to the left and a little bit high, so that was interesting. We'll see how a case ejection does pretty well. Let's hit our ballistics gel block with these and see how they do. All right, time to see what our best potential is. Plain clear ballistics, nothing else. 380 ACP. Let's see what this does. All right. 38 Special. See how that compares. Let's go take a look. All right, I forgot to remember that was shooting quite a bit left for me with that 38 Special, but it contained it in that block, so we didn't lose those bullets. But what we see here is a extraordinary difference here. And, you know, this is fully expanded with our 380 ACP, so I'm not going to reshoot that because, you know, that's about as good as you're going to get for expansion. So I don't think I'm going to see anything else if I shoot it again. But what we're seeing here is a very flat bullet, and that's why it didn't penetrate very far. It is extraordinarily large expansion. I would guess 75 caliber, but when you go that big with something that's not very long of a bullet, yeah, it's going to pancake out. It's not going to go very far. So what we have are 380 ACP, and where I'm going to put my fingers sometimes doesn't look right on camera because the back of the block, it skews it because I have a widescreen camera, but I'm looking dead on here exactly at 6 3/4 inches of penetration. Now we go to our 38 Special. We have about 18 3/4 inches of penetration. Can't tell how much expansion we have or don't have because that clear ballistics is kind of bubbled up around there, but definitely a big difference there. So let's put on our fabric and our MDF and see how they compare that way. All right, 4 layers of polo, 3 inches of clear ballistics to represent our pectoral muscle, 1/4 inch MDF, and the more clear ballistics, 380 ACP. Let's see what this does. Let's try our 38 now. All right, 38 Special. Let's see how this does. Let's go take a look. All right, so we saw the same differences there that we saw in plain clear ballistics. So here is our expansion with our 380 on the bottom here, and we can definitely see it is just expanding very, very quickly. As when we look at our 38 Special, that's more of a controlled expansion. That's typically what an XTP bullet does. So what we're looking at here is almost the same penetration with our 380, but actually a little bit less. We're at about 6.5 inches of penetration. We have good expansion, not quite as big as before, but really good. Now our 38 Special looks like it did identical as far as penetration through our MDF. Maybe just a hair less, 18.5 inches. So overall, I'm going to say that 38 Special looks like it's doing pretty well. It's kind of like a 38 Magnum. It's about as close as you're going to get to 357 mag out of a 38 Special. Considering that, I probably would only fire it out of a steel frame 38 Special if it were me. Just because even though you have revolvers that are rated for +P, some are steel, some are alloy, they both say +P. In the real world, there actually is a little bit of a difference there in those build qualities. So you don't really want where, you know, your crane attaches here to the frame to take on all that impact if it's not steel. So let me shoot at my steel target, see what kind of practical accuracy I can get now. All right, so here's our bullets pulled from the gel here. So here's our plain clear ballistic shot. Here's our 38 Special, which I think is an XTP here. And we have that really controlled expansion. With our 380 ACP, big expansion, but we did get jacket separation. Very large hollow point overall though. So that's a little too fast in a way for a bullet like that. Through our medium density fiberboard, looks almost the same, just slightly less overall expansion. 380 ACP, a little bit less expansion. And again, we had jacket separation with that. So overall, it's a little bit tougher bullet and just a little bit more controlled. But this, you know, it's not a bad bullet. It expanded every time, but I would say pushing it up to a +P really isn't necessary because you're just over expanding it. And, you know, if we had a little bit less power, it would probably be more of a controlled expansion. So that's those bullets close up. All right, so I want to see how these will shoot for me from 25 yards. 380 ACP. See how this does. Not too bad. Wasn't really trying to focus so much on our group as much as just popping them off to see if they could hit without me trying. So 38 Special, let's see what this does. And it does look like it's hitting really far left for me. Let me aim as far right as I can on that target. Pulled that last one That's Taurus trigger for you. I mention that sometimes. For some reason, these Taurus triggers go back closer to the frame than my Smith & Wessons. So when I'm getting a nice far back hold, my finger gets pinched in between the trigger and the frame, and then I think something's wrong with the gun, and then when I go to pull my finger out, it goes off because my skin is pinching out from that, and it'll cause me to completely miss the shot. But I've known for a while, and Taurus will not address this, so I'm calling out Taurus. I've told Taurus over and over again, you know, I've had this gun, I bought it over a year ago, and it wouldn't rotate. They kept sending I sent it back in 4 or 5 times. They kept lying and saying that there was nothing wrong with it, and they finally sent me another one, said it was out of spec. And I contacted them, shoots far to the left, something wrong with it. They don't care, they never responded. So I've just been dealing with it because I don't know what else to do. Even at 5 yards, you're talking 3-4 inches to the left. At 25 yards, you're talking about 2 feet to the left. So that is what it is, I guess. So let me shoot from, I'm gonna do 40 yards, do kind of a dick and drill, see what I can get. All right, 40 yards from the target. It's not really a dick and drill. It's just 40 yards from the target, really. I just kind of want to see how these will shoot. So 380 ACP, let's see what I can get here. So those shoot really nice overall. Even though they're a +P, they're not super hot. So I have actually 7 rounds of this, so I'm going to top it off once I fire one. So I aim off the target to the right. It should be a miss. Pull one out. Old school tactical reload to trick your opponent. I think you fired all your rounds, but you have one left. Alright, those shoot fine, even though I had to aim off the target to the right. So what we're seeing here, case ejection's fine, as this truly is a short magnum. Now I'm not going to put my accuracy and all that, you know, clearly there's something wrong with this barrel, the way it shoots. Shoots way far to the left, but what we're seeing here is out of a 3-inch barrel. That was pretty much a short magnum. So, and it had less recoil than your typical 357 magnum also. So I think that would be a great round if you're really wanting to have something like a 357 magnum, but all you got's a 38 special revolver. Out of a 2-inch barrel I've tested in the past, it's not quite up to this power level, but 3-inch barrel, it's really close to the 4-inch barrel. So you have really good ballistics overall with 3-inch barrel with that particular 38 special. That was really awesome. Ballistically, it did really, really well. Internal ballistics, it just got everything really consistent. It was really good. Now, when we're looking at our 380 ACP, you know, that shot really good. It shot really light, really low recoil. And yeah, it would work if you made a front-on shot, but judging from those numbers that we're seeing there, what it looks like is it probably wouldn't go any deeper than 4 inches in an actual human target. So in order to make a shot that's going to stop somebody, unless it's because they gave up in pain, you know, you're going to have to make a front-on shot or a T-zone shot to stop somebody with that particular 380 ACP round. It's very powerful, don't get me wrong, and it shot really, really good. And that counts for something because, you know, you could make that T-zone shot pretty easily with the round that shoots like that, but I wouldn't rely on it for a reliable penetration. You want to have something that's going to have more controlled expansion at those power levels so you can get the bullet deeper. So that's what you get today, Buffalo Bore. Pretty good ammo overall though. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.